Hey, Paul,
Hmm.
you remember in 1977 when you weren't thinking about Star Wars and Dan Curtis made Trilogy of Terror 1.5?
I have seen literally every Dan Curtis movie ever made. I have never seen Trilogy of Terror 1.5.
Well, it's what he should have called Dead of Night.
This episode, we're going to talk about Dan Curtis's Dead of Night and the Sven bits that wrap around it.
Who calls me from out of the pit?
I'm Paul,
I'm Mark.
and this is the return of the son of the show. This week, it's just me and Mark. Mike and Nick are off with their fancy friends doing fancy friend stuff.
Yeah, we don't have fancy
And
friends.
that's right. You're
We're
looking
it.
at it.
We're it.
Yeah. But we're going to review Svengoolie's episode tonight because it was all new
To us,
to us and possibly the world.
Richard Matheson writing with Dan Curtis and their same sound guy from Trilogy of Terror coming out and doing Dead of Night.
All the Dan Curtis oboe you can handle.
That's correct. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oboe.
Oh
Oboe,
boy.
where art thou?
Yes. Yes.
No country for oboes.
Yes.
All right. But before we do all that and get any sillier, if you like this channel, you like our content, do us all a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you don't miss a single video. And now, through the magic of Dan Curtis's oboe,
Yes.
to bring you
Dead of Night.
Help me! Help me!
Alma, what?
John!
Oh my God, what's wrong?
Oh,
Alma, what is it?
God, John. He's back. Bobby's back.
Bobby's dead, Alma.
No. He didn't drown. Some people found him down the beach.
What are you talking about?
He's alive.
Alma, please.
No, see, he's alive. Some people found him.
What are you trying to tell me?
He didn't remember who he was until tonight.
Until tonight.
Listen. John,
What is it?
there's something.
What is it, Alma?
I think he's losing his mind. I don't even recognize him. I don't know. Do you know what he just did? Do you know that planter at the top of the stairs?
At the top of the stairs.
He just pushed that down on me.
Pushed it down.
Pushed it down on me! Yes, and now he's running around upstairs in the dark.
In the dark.
And he insists on playing some game. You know
Just
that...
not playing some game.
Why are you repeating everything I say?
Repeat
Why are
everything you say.
Okay, so tonight we watched Dead of Night.
Dead of Night.
Svengoolie, 1977.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah.
Dan Curtis and Richard Matheson.
Yes. Back at it again.
Yes, back.
So we thought we'll go, and it's a it's a triptych.
Yes, much like Trilogy of Terror, they decided to. That was so popular, they decided to do another made-for-TV movie. So they got together and did this one.
Though not calling it Trilogy of Terror 2.
No, but really, it's Trilogy of Terror Part 1.5. You can
That's
argue.
right.
Yeah.
So we thought we'll go over each of the three segments,
Mhm.
kind of, give our general thoughts on it, and then do a bit of a summary at the end.
And interestingly, this is something neither one of us have ever seen,
Yeah.
let alone seen it on Svengoolie. So I don't know if Sven has ever run it before.
Interestingly enough, well, we were halfway through one of these segments. I'm sitting here going, I've seen this before, but I've never seen Dead of Night. And then we found out why, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit.
Mhm.
All right, so the first segment was
Second Chance.
Second Chance.
Oddly enough, the first one was second.
Yes, and not written by Matheson,
No, it was not.
and it shows.
And it shows. And it's starring the ever famous Ed Begley Jr.
Of Battlestar Galactica fame.
Correct. And if you like Ed Begley and Battlestar Galactica, check out our other video where we talk about Battlestar Galactica.
That's right. I'll put it at the end of this
Yeah.
video. The guy that wrote this is the same guy, Richard Finney, I think his name was.
Mhm.
He's the same guy that wrote The Body Snatchers, which got turned into Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Which is a much better story than this one.
And if you talk to me for more than 5 minutes, I'm going to bring up how you should read The Body Snatchers.
Sure.
It's not the Robert Louis Stevenson.
Mhm.
Robert Louis Stevenson that wrote The Body Snatcher.
Maybe.
Okay, it got turned into Invasion of the Body
Yes.
Snatchers.
Yes.
I can't recommend it enough. But anyway, but unlike this, I can recommend this one enough.
Yeah, so this first one was odd to me. It was an odd story.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ed Begley Jr. is a car enthusiast. He likes to rebuild cars. So he finds this old, rare car in a barn, as they always do, with an old man who tells a story that a couple were killed in it, trying to race the train long ago. And he rebuilds the car and then somehow time travels back to those same set events. The car like takes him back to where it.
Yeah, it literally just drives. There's no like
No explanation
meteor
given.
storm
Yeah,
or
no.
northern lights or
No.
anything. It just drives along.
Yeah, as if the car were possessed and wanting to go back in time.
Yeah.
And I think and there's a lot I didn't like about it. Number one, it was what irritated me was it was filmed with a lot of filters. Like it had a lot of Vaseline on the lens.
They
And
couldn't clean the Vaseline off.
yeah, and I'm like, why is it supposed to make it scarier, or because it's not a scary?
No, I think
Yeah.
I think it was for nostalgia's sake.
I guess
it was
it's just
create, but I always find the Vaseline on the lens filter annoying.
Yeah, I found it annoying as well. And so so you find out it was pretty predictable. So he takes the car back. He leaves the keys in the car. He walks around the town, is amazed that he's back in time, and then some punk ass kid and his girlfriend steal the car and go joyriding off. And he tries to run out and stop the car. And then you find out years later he's hanging out with his girlfriend, meets the girlfriend's grandfather and grandmother.
Who's the grandfather from the Waltons?
No, correct. Right. And brings up the car, and the guy has, lo and behold, he has that same car. But he goes into the garage, and they're talking, and it's revealed that the old couple doesn't remember, so they don't really have an epiphany at all. They just were like, yeah, we were running the train, and at the last minute we decided we couldn't pass it. And so the kid realizes that it is his car, and somehow by going back in time, the car saved, and him trying to stop the car being stolen saved the grandparents, who then produced his going to be wife, who then they drive off together in the end in the refurbished car, having just been married. So for me, given the fact where this goes from here, why start with a Twilight Zone with a happy ending? It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I get that it's called Second Chance, but
should have been called No Chance.
Yes, yeah. I would have reversed the story. Yeah. I would have totally done it backwards, where the guy starts with the guy and his girlfriend meeting the grandparents. He finds the car. He refurbishes the car for the grandparents and the girlfriend to get married. He then takes it out for a test drive, goes back in time. This time the car gets stolen from, because he's in the car, he's changed time. He tries to stop the car, and that delay causes the grandparents to crash and die. And then when he wakes up in the future, there is no girlfriend or wife. I think that would have been a much better story. And then it ends with him feverishly working on the car to try time travel again.
And it's a loop.
Yeah,
it's just stuck in a loop forever.
Yeah, that endless loop horror ending of the Twilight Zone.
For me, the worst part of the whole thing was the constant narration. Let the young Ed Begley Jr. emote.
Yeah.
Let him act. Let him stand there at the fence and
right.
Don't just with that Kevin Costner monotone.
Yeah.
That we don't need.
I mean, you could have still called it Second Chance because it ends with him I just need one more chance or one more chance. I need one more chance to go back in time and fix this. And so that I think would have fit the themes of because the trilogy of terror, you've got Karen Black being in all three episodes. They're all horror. They're all, her being sort of the focal point of the horror. And I think it would have made more sense to fit in with the rest of the stories.
All three of them could have starred Ed Begley Jr. What if?
Yes, no such thing as an Ed Begley Jr. Yes.
Yes. The thing I can't figure out is based on the popularity of Trilogy of Terror, and let's face it, Trilogy of Terror was the TV movie that basically terrified a generation.
Correct.
Based on the popularity of that, the idea of one, not calling it Trilogy of Terror 2, even putting together the gang, getting the gang back together, Matheson, Curtis, the composer. Why not call it Trilogy of Terror?
Correct. Why not? If you're trying to capitalize, so your whole idea of getting back together is let's capitalize on the popularity of what we did.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't? Yeah, right. Why wouldn't you do a sequel? And certainly by '77, there were plenty of things called the blah 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 2.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would have fit perfectly.
And Trilogy of Terror, the original, was in circulation. It was in syndication so much.
Yeah.
It probably aired a dozen times. Between 74 or whatever it came out in 77.
He does try to do it later in the 80s. There is a Trilogy of Terror 2, which we can talk about here, but
we can talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, and even Sven was cautionary about it. He's like, you just gotta sit through the first one.
It's the slow one.
It's the slow one, and it's worth getting into the later ones.
On that note, let's move on to
number
the
2.
Second one.
Yes, called No Such Thing as a Vampire, starring Patrick Macnee, which was the too drawn out clue for tonight.
Yeah.
And so the ever never aging Patrick Macnee. I mean,
right.
He looks just, except for that he had dark hair.
Well, yeah.
But he looks the same no matter when I've seen him in.
We figured out that, he always looked like he was 55 years old.
Yes.
But in this movie, he was actually 55 and looked his age.
Correct.
I liked it. I thought it was a good story. I liked the twist at the end that we didn't catch the first time.
No, we did not. It sucks. Yeah.
We had to cheat a little bit because we got caught up talking about some things when Horst Burkhold answered came onto the scene.
Yeah, we missed the important clue.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like it's better than the first part. By far.
It was. I gave it 2 stars. Yeah. For me, I have a weird love-hate relationship with short stories, and so if I figure it out, then I don't like it. And so this one, I was like, I couldn't figure out I didn't like it because in this case, I didn't like because I couldn't figure out what was going on. It just seemed anticlimactic to make it just a guy seeking revenge on. What an elaborate way. It just thematically doesn't make sense. He has this elaborate, so it appears to be in Transylvania. It takes place in Transylvania, which I read. So there are vampires, I guess, because the manservant has killed one in the past and has the stake and hammer in his drawer. But so I guess that makes sense that he tries to fake everyone out. That was another vampire on the loose. I guess I tried. I've talked myself into it. That makes total sense. I'm wrong. So hold on.
All right.
Rewind. I'm going to give it 3 stars. So because that makes now that I think about it, we must have been really talking too much during that one. We were way too off. So no, now that I think about it, yes, what a perfect story, because Transylvania, vampires, perfect way that I can murder my wife's lover by making it look like a vampire because I'm in Transylvania and everyone will think it's a vampire.
Right.
Perfect. Wow. Okay. So we should have we talked way too much. I was saying we talked way too much during that one. Now that's a cool idea. So,
well, what I wonder was his servant. Did he trick him into killing a guy before too?
Maybe. Oh, that's right. Maybe the wife had other lovers. Yeah, that's right.
Because Macnee had mentioned to Horst Burkhold that that the manservant has killed a vampire
Yeah,
in the past. And I'm
correct.
like, and he's really kind of like not all there. Do you remember
Yeah.
who the actor was?
So, character actor Elisha Cook as Carol. Svengoolie mentioned, but that guy's been in everything. He
Yeah,
mentioned a few things, but I've seen him in tons of westerns,
yeah.
and he's
He is at his best when he's
he's the bug-eyed, bug-eyed freaking out guy.
yeah.
No, but now that I think about it, what a clever way. You've got a vampire killer in your house. You find out your wife's cheating on you, so you frame it so it looks like he drains her enough blood that she's going to be like bedridden too. So he kind of like makes it so she can never cheat on him
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
So the more I think about that
Yeah.
story, the better it gets.
And the fact
Yeah.
that when Horst Burkhold shows up,
Yes,
I just like saying his name.
correct.
When he shows up, you get the impression that he's like the Van Helsing type character.
Yes,
But he's really not.
No.
You know, he's
He's
there
just-
for a specific reason.
correct. Very interesting. And so maybe she's been seeing doctors because she seems like she's an invalid anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe she's had a series of affairs with doctors. So,
Hey,
but either way, I stand corrected in my own video that that's a really good idea. That's a cool idea. What better? I mean, if you live in a world where supernatural things exist and you want to cover up a murder, what better way than to make it look like a supernatural?
Yeah.
Must have been the werewolf. I don't know. They got all chopped up. Could have been. They got thrown in the water and drowned with their neck broken. Frankenstein must be back.
Frankenstein must be back.
Yeah, I don't know. Or,
Torches,
yeah.
Frankenstein's back.
I mean, no one saw what happened to him. It could have been the Invisible Man. You don't know.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool. They should have made it more compelling so we wouldn't have talked so much. I would have
Yeah,
caught
like
it.
start
So,
off with
yeah,
bang.
yeah, or go deep with that idea. That's they should remake that into its own little movie. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I stand corrected. I'm gonna up that. I'm changing that in my notes to 3 stars. So
3 out of how many?
only 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm giving it a high rating. That's a great.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
First one was only 1 star.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of 3.
Yes, number 3.
Number 3.
Bobby.
Cindy.
So I was hoping, since it was called Bobby, that we'd get another episode with Bobby and Cindy lost in the Grand Canyon and eating pork and beans out of a flashlight with a little Indian boy. But we did not. Instead, we got something that's probably going to give me a night tonight. Damn it.
You understand Mark has a
It's
the opposite of affinity is
So apparently
kind people.
I would say Dan Curtis apparently tapped into every fear I had as a child. You know what all he needed was
into everybody's fear.
all he needed was a evil ventriloquist doll is one of the stories, and he would have got me. And then a ghost that comes back to kill. I mean,
Yeah.
But yeah, no. The fact that and it is very much the same as the Zuni monster story.
Yeah,
So,
in that regard, they emulated
yeah,
the
a woman. Yeah, but the fact that I thought it was really cool that she uses black magic to bring her son back, and what comes back is not what she expects and is homicidal. So let me think for a minute. So where have I heard that before? Let's see. Kid dies, parents bring back using magic, and then the kid is homicidal, says no fair a lot, although this kid doesn't say no fair. And so did Stephen King see this in 1977 and then just write Pet Sematary in 1983?
If he did, he probably was on drugs
And he'll deny it. He'll deny it. But
yeah.
I mean, Pet Sematary, which by the way is the movie that scared the crap out of me the most.
Now,
but yeah, this one.
King said that he got the inspiration from stuff like the Monkey's Paw and stuff like that. But
Liar, he got it from this. So and this is creepy as hell. The little kid comes back.
Yeah.
Cuts the phone, imitates his own father.
That
was the creepiest part.
When she's on the phone and you don't see the cords cut,
yeah,
and you're listening to and he's talking and he's doing that thing that they do on TV where like they the guy on one end will repeat what's being said.
Correct, correct.
And after a while, we're just like, that's annoying.
Yeah.
And then we're like, that's him.
Yeah. Oh,
And that was brilliant.
yeah.
That
and
was
when he laughs, yeah.
that was probably the best.
Yeah.
For me, that was one of the best parts of this movie. Not the ending is the best part, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But that just how subtle and seamless that happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was really good. I enjoyed that part a lot.
And I think it's interesting, again, the twist. So this one had like triple twists in it, which
Yeah.
was really great. So the fact that the grieving mother there's a point where she first gets annoyed at him and she yells at him, and you see like her in a whole different light, like she was an verbally abusive mother. And he comes back later and says, well, the little boy,
Yeah.
he drowned himself to get away from
Yeah.
you. And the fact that the mother is the monster, really,
Yeah.
I thought was really clever.
I don't remember what the actress's name was, but she was good.
She was. She, as I found out later, she didn't live too much longer after this. She got cancer. Her name is Joan Hackett. But yeah, and so the little, I mean, at first, so I kind of figured this out. So at first, maybe when they're showing him walk around with a knife, I'm like, well, maybe they couldn't show a little kid carrying a knife.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely tapped into. There's nothing scarier than something under 3 foot tall with a blade coming to kill you.
Calling you.
Yeah, that's just wrong. It's wrong in all kinds of ways.
Now,
So
this was the one for me though that, when, like I said, about halfway through, I'm like, I swear I've seen this, but I've never seen this
Mhm.
movie. And then you had brought up that
he remade it.
They remade it in Trilogy of Terror 2.
Correct. Yeah.
At 1.5,
Right.
Trilogy of Terror 2 in the 90s, which is arguably missable except for
The lovely and talented Lizette Anthony, who Dan Curtis, she must have been one of his troops, because he remade Dark Shadows in the 80s, and she was the witch in that. Which unfortunately got canceled after one season. I loved the Dark Shadows remake, but also if you're not a Dark Shadows fan, she was also the princess in Krull. Yeah, Krull, the sci-fi.
That's what I know.
The sci-fi.
And Krull, by the way, if you don't think it's one of the best fantasy movies ever made,
you're an idiot.
We'll fight.
Yeah, you're an idiot. Minus the unfortunate Vangelis influenced soundtracks that seem to hit fantasy movies in the 80s.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, Krull is. We should do it.
Yeah, perfection.
Perfection. It's a good movie. So then we get the fantastic twist in the end. The fact that the kid killed himself to get away from his clearly abusive mother, and then when she tries to bring him back, you see him, the shadow of him at the top of the stairs, and Bobby didn't want to come back, so he set me. And then you get which Paul knew. Did you know? You knew it was coming from the Trilogy of Terror too, so you must have known. Yeah, so you're sitting there not saving me.
I didn't do a Google search before.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there all innocent, and then the freaking demonic face comes.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Oh God. It's going to be a lights on in the hallway tonight. Oh, yuck. This is why, as a child, this is why I didn't watch Dan Curtis a lot after Trilogy of Terror. I thought I learned my lesson, but I was like, well, this one, of course, he fools. Maybe that's why Second Chance was done. He fools you into thinking this is going to be a happy reverse Trilogy of Terror.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
But no. We end with a demon-faced child running into the camera at the end. Oh, ugh.
Great cliffhanger. Great ending.
Yeah, that
obviously the best one. And
that was the best one. It was and they did it in. There's the horror trope where you're trapped in the haunted house, you're trapped in the haunted whatever.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it's this house she's trapped in, and it's pouring rain outside, she can't escape.
Mm-hmm.
It just made it. And the fact that I mean, there's always jump scares, but when he's tormenting her in the closet, and he does the whole "I'm going to go upstairs, you must be up there." Damn well he's right there.
He
and
does like the stomp,
yeah. And so they get you. they lull you into a false sense of you're predicting that this is going to be easy to predict, and then he does the ending, which was not predictable. So, yeah, the fact that it's a demon, yeah, it's great. It was, and it's too bad. So too bad for me if they had reversed the story of the first one and made it a horror story, a creepy Twilight Zone-y,
Yeah.
Maddening ending. Because Twilight Zones always drive me crazy because it's like, oh my, dude, the guy, he finally can read all the books in the library. And his glasses are broken.
Tight man.
Yes, the hell. I think this would have been, and call it Trilogy of Terror 2. I think it would have been a hit.
Yeah.
I'm a big mistake on their part.
I don't remember. Well, like I said before, I don't remember this one at all. So
No.
I don't know if it was reran as much as
Probably
trilogy
not.
was. Of course, it was 77, so maybe obviously chronologically it couldn't have been run that much.
No.
But it's not nearly as memorable as Trilogy of Terror. But maybe it would have been, yeah, if they would have just fixed that first one.
Yeah. No, so overall, I mean, you have two very strong stories and one which is fine. At least the one was first.
Yeah.
And you could flush it really quickly. So, yeah, I was pleasantly. That was great. That was, after Svengoolie having some reruns for a while, and we haven't done one in a while.
Well,
this was great
for a movie that this is like the first time, as far as we know. If you know more than we do, let us know down below. But as far as we know, this is the first time he's aired it. This was a good movie to show.
Mm-hmm.
With all new all new Sven bits. And speaking of Sven bits, let's talk about the
Sven bits. So, I have to say, the joke at the beginning, good Lord, I groaned. I did literally groan.
It was an atomic eye roller.
Yeah, it was. He did that whole thing about, and he's not wrong, though. Each story is about a mistake. He's perfectly, but then he says it should have been called Trilogy of Error. And he does this whole elaborate setup.
Yeah, it takes him like 5 minutes.
Took 5 minutes to tell the joke. And so I moaned at that one. That one was painful. And then we get, he did the two drawn out, which we guessed pretty easily.
Yeah.
We got, which is not always true. I'm only like 50% two drawn out normally. So I was very pleased with myself that I got it with putt.
I just get a kick out of the fact that he has this enormous pad of paper and he draws like in the upper quadrant of it,
To me, it's total nostalgia for remembering Giggle Snort Hotel.
That's exactly where it gets it.
Yeah, it's where he got it from. Yeah, and so he needs they just need to bring back Blob then. They should make it purple and it could be like, oh, Sven, oh, Sven. But and Dirty Dragon could live in the basement below the crypt of Sven.
I think you're just making Giggle Snort Hotel.
I know. I want it back. I loved Giggle Snort Hotel as a child.
Yes.
So the two drawn out was fine. And I love watching Rich Coe's do his art. And if you saw, he now there's a T-shirt with his art on it, which I think I want to get. Then we got Sven on the Road, he was reviewing the Back to the Future car.
Yeah. No Pinky in the Brain.
No Pinky in the Brain this week. And then we get the song with Anita Exorcist, lovely and powerful Anita Exorcist. So the song was good. I thought the song was good this week. We have an appearance by Nostalgia Ferratu, which, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a fair reviewer of Nostalgia Ferratu. He just has to stand there,
yes,
and look at the camera, and I'm laughing. And then we had some stuff from the vault.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much though, because there's only 15 minutes left in the show.
Yeah.
This is a long movie.
Yeah.
But we did get, which again, our favorite, our buddy Tombstone.
That's right.
Did the little rat skulls.
Yes.
With half alpha and a probably problematic now Svengoolie as buckwheat. But
buck and a half
wheat.
Yeah, maybe don't do that.
Yeah, but again, just making me wish Tombstone, they did new stuff with Tombstone.
I would love more
Yeah,
Tombstone on
yeah.
the show.
He was my favorite character as a kid on Son of Svengoolie, and it just he again like nostalgia for Ratu. Tombstone shows up, I'm laughing.
Just by showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, how is this not hilarious?
Correct.
Hey there, Mark.
Yeah.
Are you gonna dream about a cat? Oh wait, you don't have to dream that.
So overall, new show to me. If it wasn't, if I've never seen it, so I've never seen the movie, never seen it. Sven do the movie, so I thought it was great all in all.
Yeah, like I said, for a movie that I've never seen before, this was a great movie that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
To be on a brand new episode.
Right.
All right, that pretty much does it for this episode. Let us know down below what you thought of. What's it called again?
Oh.
Dead of Night. Yeah, that's what you thought of it. And while you're down there, don't forget to do all the YouTube things. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss a single video.
Yeah, and like Ed Begley Jr., if you didn't like something we said, please give us a second chance next time. We'll do better.
All right, on that note, just like at the beginning, I'm Paul.
I'm Mark.
And this has been the return of the son of the show. There was one part where about halfway through it, I'm like, I think I've seen this before.
Yeah.
And you brought up something.
And they reused it in the actual trilogy of Terror Part 2.
That's a Hulk.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Redo it. Sorry.